Today we're going to be talking about Gojo and Sukuna becoming the bestest of friends. And if you like JJK or One Punch Man content, subscribe to this channel for more. In this chapter, we see Gojo and Sukuna fight for the first time in 200 chapters. And while hands are thrown and buildings are being turned into rubble, we see both Gojo and Sukuna emerge from the dust. And they have an unexpected, lighthearted conversation where Gojo says, "I'm going to blame you for the rubble." And Sukuna is uncharacteristically smiling, and not like an evil smile, like a wholesome smile. And he says, "Look who's talking." So in this video, I'm going to talk about this scene in particular because I think this one has a lot to say about the state of Jujutsu Kaisen. And more importantly, the state of these two characters, because Gojo and Sukuna, they have a respect for each other. Because despite all the trash talk, these two are the strongest. And this is really in line with a lot of the things we hear Sukuna talk about at the beginning of this story, when he said that anything but a hierarchy of power is boring. Sukuna respects the strong, and Gojo is the strongest he has ever faced. Of course, Sukuna is going to begrudgingly like Gojo. Sukuna loves combat, and Gojo is the best fight of his life. And the same goes for Gojo, because since Gojo was born, he changed the entire world. Everybody heralded him as just this deity of Jujutsu. And it's lonely at the top. When you have no equal to hone your skills against, what really is there? Let's take a real world example and look at professional athletes. A professional athlete does not want to be the best in a pool of hamsters. They want to be the best in a pool of talented individuals. And for Gojo and Sukuna, after all these years, that's what this fight is for them. For Sukuna, it's 1,000 years of waiting to finally get the proof that he is in fact the strongest to ever live. And for Gojo, he finally has an opponent where his 6 eyes and Limitless are not overkill. Against somebody as strong as Ryoma and Sukuna, they are required. So of course these guys are going to be the best of friends. For Sukuna, this is his ideology coming front and center. He only believes in a hierarchy of the strong, so if he loses here, well guess what? That puts Gojo above him in his own ideology. And Sukuna's not going to live with that, so he is going to prove his own self-worth in this fight. And for Gojo, well, him being the strongest, that's his whole identity. Do we really think that two characters as prideful as Gojo and Sukuna are ever going to be okay with being second best to one another? Fuck no for Gojo, and fuck no for Sukuna. Sukuna would burn the world down before being second best. And that's why I love that these two at the end of this chapter, they're smiling even though they're trying to kill each other. Because despite this fact, it's lonely at the top for them. Sukuna loves combat, and possibly for the first time in his entire life, he is actually pushed to use his full kit. And the same goes for Gojo. The last time Gojo really made a development we saw in the story was against Toji over 10 years ago. And yes, in these dire times of Jujutsu Kaisen, there are many a great power scaling battles going on. But as far as the narrative is concerned, this is a battle between equals. And even though Sukuna's been on the defensive for the most part the past 2 chapters, I'm sure he's going to get his moment coming up pretty soon, probably after the break. Like, Gege Akatame is still hiding Sukuna's technique even during the first parts of the Gojo vs Sukuna fight. Sukuna is still using Dismantle. This guy loves Dismantle. Finger gun it, whatever. And also, 20 fingers Sukuna Dismantle, way better than 15 fingers. 15 finger Dismantle when it went through Mahoraga was what, slamming into the side of the building? 20 finger Sukuna Dismantle, well now that's real shit. This thing finger guns itself right through a building. I'll say right now, everything in JJK's manga is just firing on all cylinders right now. Ever since chapter 213, we've had non-stop plot movement and major events. Is it moving too fast for some people? Maybe, but I'm enjoying it so much. And Gege Akatame is pulling out all the stops, or even trying to push the art further, which is like, JJK's art has never been incredible, but the fight choreography here, this is some top-notch stuff. A lot of people say their favorite author is cooking, but nobody asks what they're cooking in, because some authors are out here cooking in easy bake ovens. But Gege Akatame is lining up a pretty satisfying climax, and seeing Sukuna and Gojo's loneliness finally come into the story. It's been hinted at a bit, but it never really came into the forefront of the story until now. And that's in part due to Gojo being locked inside of a box for the majority of the series, and Sukuna is also stuck in his own box. But now, at last, they are free to die. Now, their whole little buddy-buddy relationship here is probably going to last a whopping panel, but personally, I plan to enjoy it while it lasts, because this is the closest to peace that Gojo and Sukuna fans will ever have. Unless they both die, then maybe. But that's just my opinion, and I want to hear yours. What do you think of Gojo and Sukuna's loneliness? And are you excited for the climax of Jujutsu Kaisen? Comment below and let me know. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thanks for watching.